Hello, Johnny from Eurogamer here, today with a bit of a different video for you, if I'm honest, as you may have guessed from the fact we're in my kitchen, and the reason for that is I was playing Dishonored 2 the other day and I found a recipe for hagfish dumplings, so I thought, I like to cook, you like Dishonored 2, let's give that a go. Right, so I've got my recipe here. Serkonan hagfish dumplings calls for 2 hagfish, skinned, boned and dewormed, that's worrying, butter, flour, 3 eggs, salt, cheese, crust stock, or any briny fish stock, and some white wine. And it doesn't tell me how much flour I'm going to be using, so that's not helpful at all, but here we go. Step 1, make a paste of the butter, flour and eggs. No idea how much flour I'm using, no idea how much butter I'm using, but it does say paste, which means kind of soft and runny. And I am using 3 eggs, so I reckon I'm going to put a bit of flour in. Let's call it that much. I can always add a bit extra if I need to. Then 3 eggs. 1 and 3. Right. Butter. Alright then, so here is our paste. Really much more of a batter, but you know, we'll leave it like that for the time being because we've got to add some fish next. Speaking of which, actually, I kind of need to address the whole hagfish bit in the recipe because obviously the recipe says hagfish dumplings, but in real life, a hagfish is a weird eel thing that constantly makes sort of slimy ooze and is very hard to get hold of and is gross, so I'm not going to use one of those. In Dishonored 2, it's a slightly different animal. It's actually sort of more of a pike, but again, not the easiest to get hold of, so I've gone for some very boring, sustainably sourced cod. And I'm supposed to, let's see, what does it say? Mince and pound that small and combine it into the egg paste. I'm also going to add some garlic because so far this recipe sounds boring. So, 3 cloves of garlic going in. Alright, so there is the hagfish, cod. It's minced up a bit, not really small, but to be honest it's about as small as I think I'm going to get it without a better knife, / I can't be arsed. So let's throw it in the paste. Less of a paste, more goop. So I'm going to add a bit more flour. Thanks for not giving us those proportions there, recipe. Okay, so I've worked this into something that I hope you'll agree is a bit more of a paste and has a bit more of a chance of surviving the next step, which is to bring the fish stock to a low boil. Then we need to add the egg and hagfish mixture to the stock by large spoonfuls and simmer for 30 minutes, which frankly feels like an awfully long time. I don't know if it's actually going to hold together, so what I'm going to do is do a trial one and see if it needs even more flour. Hopefully the egg will do something. Let's find out. Alright, moment of truth. That's a seemingly large spoonful. In you go. Is that holding? Let's try and kill the simmer so we can see whether it's properly working. I think that might just work. I'm going to leave that for a couple of minutes and see if I need to adjust anything. While I'm doing that, I'm going to check on the rest of my ingredients because as I mentioned earlier, this recipe does mention white wine and I just want to make sure it's not corked. Deliciously fresh, dry white wine with crisp apple and pear fruit notes. Ideal served cool or as an aperitif. Right, it's been a few minutes and by Jove, look at this! I don't know about you, but that, to me, looks, disgusting, but sort of like a dumpling. Let's add the rest. Alright, progress. So currently this looks like a hot mess, frankly, but I promise you, hang on, let me get my spoony thing, there are individual little, yeah, again, they look disgusting, but that's kind of the Dishonored 2 aesthetic, right? There are individual, oops, just broke one, dumplings in there. Again, the recipe says that they needed to simmer for half an hour, but I think that is utterly bonkers. And also I don't have very much time. So I'm gonna chance it and put them in the oven a bit sooner than that. The oven is on, it's preheating, but like most of the things in my kitchen, it's rubbish. The light doesn't work, it smokes like a bastard. Yeah, really not the best kitchen here, but nonetheless, the dumplings are in the thing, the oven is on, I'm slowly filling up with wine. I think we might actually pull this off. Okay, so I've given these dumplings about as long as I dare to, frankly. So I'm going to transfer these, come on, focus, here we go, into a deep baking dish for the next part of the recipe, which is to arrange the boiled quenelles in a deep baking dish, that's a quenelle apparently, top with generous amounts of cheese and butter, and add the wine, again, no word on how much wine, but the wine to the bottom of the dish. Bake until the cheese melts and the quenelles are fragrant. They're already pretty fragrant, to be honest, but let's keep transferring them over anyway. Cheese. That'll probably do it. Oh, that looks disgusting. As they say in the Great British Bake Off, I'm going in. Cue jaunty music. No, that still looks disgusting. Certainly more promising. Yeah, well, the cheese is melted. And I start to mess up the bottom of the pan, so let's stop there. Taste test time. Alright, so it's the moment of truth. I've got my little hagfish dumpling here, and it's time to see whether it's a meal fit for an empress or whether it ought to just be assassinated. That didn't make much sense, but never mind. Let's give this a go. Here we go. Cut the thing. That made a just horrible sound then. That's very hot. That's been hot. Oh, that's incredibly hot. That's actually delicious. I thought this was going to be really funny because it would be disgusting, but that is really tasty. It's like fishy, it's not too floury. It's just cheese and fish. It's like a cheese and fish delivery vehicle. Yeah, I'm alright with that. I'm going to finish the one I've got on the go now. Not on camera. But I'm going to eat it. That, yeah, was surprisingly tasty. Hagfish dumplings. Try them at home. Or don't. Wherever.